What do plastic straws, Skittles, and youth tackle football all have in common? These are all things that California politicians are trying to ban. Coming up, I'll tell you why, what else politicians in California are trying to ban, and how we're fighting to stop them. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California. And in California, our freedom is under assault by our politicians, both at the local level and the state level. Politicians continue to try to create a nanny state where they get to control our lives. One of the ways that they do this is by banning things that they say are harmful to us or bad for the rest of society. And in fact, California has become the capital of bans. It was so funny the other day when Governor Gavin Newsom claimed that he was the governor of the freest state in the country and that he was going to go on a national campaign to fight authoritarianism. Dude, look in the mirror. In fact, when you look at what California has done, every law that they have passed to ban things are not based upon sound and reasonable protections for society or individuals. It's all based upon the arrogance of the ruling political class thinking that they can live your life better than you can. Now, before I go through the list of all the things that have been banned in California already and all of the ban proposals that are actually still outstanding and being worked on, I want you to sound off in the comments throughout this video. I want you to tell me, as we go through the list of things that are banned, are there things that we've missed? Because I'm losing count of all the things that politicians in California have banned. So if we've missed something, please sound off in the comment section below. Is there anything that is banned in other states? Are you living in another state? Do they ban things that California doesn't ban? Sound off in the comments below. And then finally, let's be honest. Are you violating any of these bans if you live in California? I suspect you are because, frankly, the bans really don't have any real common sense justification. So let's start out and let's look at the things that California politicians have already banned. First on the list, plastic bags, plastic straws, and styrofoam. That's right. California believes that the environment is under attack by things that have made our lives so much more convenient. And so several years ago, they enacted a statewide ban on any free plastic bags being provided to you at your local store. Now, they said it was to protect the environment. And what it did was it made things less convenient when you go to the store. You end up having to buy cloth bags or you have to buy bags at the store. And ironically, the bags that you buy at the store are thicker plastic bags. Now they say, well, the reason why we're giving you these bags, the thicker plastic bags, is because they're reusable. Well, the old bags that were free, the thinner plastic bags, they were reusable as well. Ask anyone who owns a cat or a dog. But what's interesting about this is that the thicker plastic bags are now going to the landfill, and it's taking them longer to biodegrade. There is absolutely no data. There's no information out there showing that the plastic bag ban has resulted in less plastic being disposed of in our landfills. Actually, quite the opposite. More importantly, the people that are using the felt bags are exposing themselves to disease. That's right. Numerous cases have been traced back to felt bags that are not properly cleaned, and basically they contaminate food. Take a look at the styrofoam ban as well. Styrofoam is a very useful packaging tool for restaurants, for takeout and delivery. It keeps your food warm and it keeps you from getting sick. Now, restaurants are struggling with more expensive alternatives and less safe alternatives as well. So this is all about virtue signaling. It doesn't help the environment. It creates all sorts of secondary impacts and costs. It reduces the convenience of life. And yet, here we are in California. Plastic bag ban, styrofoam ban, plastic straw ban. Second ban, smoking indoors. California was the first state on January 1st, 1998 to enact a indoor smoking ban in night spots, bars, restaurant combinations, bingo parlors, card rooms, and casinos. Now, look, I don't smoke. I don't think it's healthy, but hey, if you want to smoke, it's your choice. It's your freedom. There's a lot of things people do that are not healthy for them, but they do it anyway, and not yet have those things been banned. But now California has expanded the ban to all offices, factories, and workplaces. You cannot smoke indoors anywhere. Oh, and more importantly, they're now starting to see local bans on smoking outdoors. That's right. You can't smoke outdoors in a lot of cities in California. What's worse than that, you've got landlords who are being told that they should be encouraging smoke-free rentals. More on the restrictions on landlords in just a moment. In the 2022 election, voters were presented with another tobacco ban, and it related to flavored tobacco. And they said the reason why we were banning flavored tobacco was because kids were getting hooked on tobacco because it tasted good. And that if we wanted to protect our kids, we needed to ban flavored tobacco for everyone, including adults. Now, mind you, prior to this ban being voted on in 2022, kids were already prohibited from buying flavored tobacco or any tobacco product for that matter. And tobacco was all sold, both regular tobacco and flavored tobacco, through licensed retailers. And those retailers knew that if they sold to an underage kid, that they'd lose their license. They'd be in big trouble. And there was a whole system in place to police to ensure compliance with not selling flavored tobacco or other tobacco to kids. When this ban was voted on, it's a feel-good ban. Voters overwhelmingly approved it. Even a lot of Republican voters I talked to said, I don't like tobacco and kids shouldn't have tobacco, so I'm going to ban it. The ban went into effect January 1st, 2023. And since then, we have found that gangs and cartels that deal drugs are now dealing, you guessed it, flavored tobacco products. And they're selling them to kids. What this ban did was it created a black market for drug dealers. And by the way, this ban came with no money for local law enforcement to actually enforce the ban on flavored tobacco. Again, empowering the drug dealers. Next, landlords. I mentioned earlier that landlords are allowed to ban tenants from smoking indoors. Landlords also face their own bans. In fact, this is the worst state to be a landlord in. Landlords are banned from asking about your past drug use. Now, you might say, why should a landlord know about my past drug use? Well, think about it. A landlord has to evaluate applicants to be tenants based upon whether they're a high risk for not fulfilling their contract obligations. If someone has had a substance abuse problem in the past, it's possible that they would be higher risk than someone who has not had a substance abuse problem. So therefore, you could argue that a landlord protecting their property rights has every right to inquire about a host of factors when deciding who they want to enter into a contract with. It's pretty common sense. It's also legal across the country, but not in California. It is illegal to refuse to rent to someone based upon past drug use. It's also illegal in one county to consider past criminal history. That's right. Again, if you're thinking, who's going to honor their contract? Who has integrity? Who's going to abide by their honor and their word and pay on time? Well, maybe someone who's committed fraud in the past would not be a good bet. But in Alameda County, you're not allowed to ask about criminal history, and that's going to spread around the state of California, a ban on landlords being able to ask about criminal history. Landlords also are not allowed to ask about immigration status. If they ask, are you here legally? Again, that's important because if you're not here legally and you're not permitted to work, it's probably going to be hard for you to pay your rent if you lose employment. Nope. It's illegal to ask about immigration status if you're in an apartment or a rental situation. Increasing the risk on landlords. And in doing so, reducing the number of people willing to be landlords in the state. A next thing that's banned is fur. There's no doubt fur is controversial and it's been talked about for what, 30 years? What is surprising is that California did not ban fur products, products, made from recently killed animals until this past year, January 1st, 2023. This one came as a surprise to me that California seems to be kind of late to the fur ban effort. Next one, California bans the use of independent contractors. This is under the state law AB 5. It was passed several years ago, 2 years ago. And it simply states that small businesses and large businesses are not allowed to hire independent contractors for a wide range of work. So it's putting those gig workers, those independent contractors, out of business, not allowing them to actually go out and get work. It also means that small businesses' costs are higher because now they have to hire a full-time employee or a part-time employee with all sorts of labor law and overhead costs. That's what it's been all about. The AB 5 law is intended to help unionize workers as well as empower plaintiff attorneys filing labor law lawsuits throughout the state. It makes it harder and harder to create jobs in the state of California. It makes it harder and harder for someone to go out and become an independent contractor to build their own small business. So it's illegal in California to hire most independent contractors for most jobs. So those are the first 5 things that were banned. Number 6, gas appliances. All gas appliances, not just the stoves. And we have a separate video that I'll put in the links below, comment section below. A separate video on the ban on natural gas appliances and how we're fighting it in California. But they want to ban gas stoves, gas fireplaces, gas furnaces, gas water heaters, anything gas powered in your home to the cost of $30,000 for the retrofit of your home to go with all electric. Number 7, they're banning gas cars. By 2035, gas cars will basically not be able to be sold in California. They would have to be all electric vehicles. Again, consumers don't want this. And I will tell you right now, probably the most profitable investment to make is buy a car dealership in Arizona, Nevada, or Oregon, where people from California will go to buy their cars. Number 8, they're even banning diesel trucks. By 2035, diesel trucks will be replaced and eliminated. It will all be electric trucks, which, by the way, don't work very well. They break down often. They don't have the ability to go up steep hills. Maybe technology will change that, but we've enacted a ban already. What it means is that our supply chain will be harder because we already have challenges getting goods around. Number 9. Doctors are banned from telling you about your healthcare options. This one is quite offensive because doctors swear a Hippocratic oath to do what is right, what is best for their patients. They face malpractice lawsuits if they don't do things right. But in California, they're saying that you have to ask your government what is the official party line on healthcare. And we're talking here about COVID-19 and the vaccines. But if a doctor tells you the wrong thing, they could lose their license to practice medicine in the state of California. Before we go on with our other bans, I want to invite you to help us support the fight for freedom in California. Go to the website reformcalifornia.org, reformcalifornia.org. Sign up as a volunteer. Contribute. Please share the news stories and the videos that we have on that site because the liberal media in California, they're not going to cover bans like this. They're not going to talk about how this is offensive to freedom-loving people. We need your help to get the word out. We need your help to fight for freedom in California. So go to the website, get involved in the fight, reformcalifornia.org. All right, let's get back to our bans. All right, getting back to our bans. Coming in at number 10, California, the University of California, which has almost a dozen universities throughout the state, they have enacted a ban on online degrees. Now, this one is a little hypocritical here because remember, liberals in California during COVID said that kids should be going to school online, and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing deficient about going online and learning online. Of course, a lot of parents and kids struggled with that during the lockdowns. Now, UC California, they have said that online degrees are not worth anything, and so they want to ban students from going and doing their coursework online and getting their degree. Look, if they can pass the tests, does it really matter? Why are they doing this? Maybe it's because they're making a lot of money off of kids actually having to go and use all these facilities that they've built, spending billions and billions of taxpayer money and donor money on. Plus, they probably make money off of those dorm rooms that they get to rent out. And so, again, I have a lot to say about the lack of value of most college degrees in public universities, particularly in California. But a ban on online degrees seems like there's a motive there, a profit motive. Number 11, you better not have Chrome on your car because it's been banned in the state of California. As of 2027, Chrome auto parts will be banned because, well, they say decorative chrome plating on cars and other devices, it's bad for the environment. All right, so Chrome is gone. Coming in at number 12, a proposal to ban Skittles, Nerds, bubblegum, any candy or food that has a certain red dye in it, as well as a ban on cinnamon rolls. All of these things would be banned, or at least ingredients would be banned to make these goodies under Assembly Bill 418. The do-gooder politicians in California say that these cinnamon rolls, Skittles, Nerds, bubblegum, they're slowly killing us. Just like the gas stove is slowly killing you. Just complete insanity. Assembly Bill 418 poses a threat to those candy products and those pastries. Number 13, they want to ban canine dogs in California because they say police dogs are racist. That's right. Apparently there are racist dogs. We did a whole video on this crazy proposal. I'll put that video in the comment section below for you to watch. But canine dogs are about to be banned in California. Interestingly enough, in that video that I just referenced, we cite a study showing that dogs are not racist. If anything, they bite white suspects more than they bite black suspects. But again, I don't consider dogs to be anti-white or anti-anything. Well, maybe anti-criminal, but that's why they're there. Coming in at number 14, a ban on suspending kids from public school for bad behavior. Look, we've already had in this country the whole debate on corporal punishment. You know, back when the teacher, maybe in the 1950s and 60s, would have the ability in a public school to rap your knuckles with a ruler. I went to a private military school in the 1980s. The Dominican nuns, yep, they were allowed to do corporal punishment. But a lot of parents say don't have corporal punishment. And so that debate is not even where we are here. We don't have corporal punishment in California, and now they're not going to have bad behavior punishment. SB 274 would ban suspensions of kids from school for bad behavior, known as willful defiance suspensions. I don't know what is going to happen if you decide you're just simply not going to teach kids reading, writing, and arithmetic or basic discipline. I don't know what society you're going to get, but in California, I think we're going to give you a glimpse of the future. Coming in at number 15, it will soon be illegal for California employers to ask for criminal background checks on prospective applicants. Senate Bill 809 would make that illegal in the state of California, except in very, very rare cases. I don't know about you, but I think employers should have the right to look at your criminal background and ask. If an employer understands the concept of second chances, that's all well and good, but banning employers from even asking the question and doing that due diligence, high risk. Number 16, I mentioned this at the opener of the video. Assembly Bill 2108 would ban tackle football for children under the age of 12. Okay, I'm sure a lot of kids aren't going to be very happy about that. You see, the politicians in California think that somehow tackle football is terrible, it's risky. But there's a lot of things that politicians aren't acting on when it comes to risk to our children. They've repeatedly rejected bills to deal with the fentanyl epidemic for children dying age 12 to 18. Fentanyl is now the number one cause of death for children age 12 to 18 in California, and it has gone up by 500% in just the last 5 years. Now, there are some bans, fortunately, that are being overturned by courts. Years ago, in fact, in 2012, a law that was passed in 2004 went into effect that bans foie gras. Now, I don't even know what foie gras is. I know it's a food product. I've never had it. I'm not that fancy. But apparently it is produced by force-feeding geese or ducks. And the mousse that is produced from the engorged livers of force-fed geese and ducks apparently is tasty to some people. Anyway, the environmental wackos think that this is animal abuse, even though there are some Hollywood celebrities that seem to be force-feeding themselves as well. Anyway, there was a lawsuit filed on this ban by producers of foie gras who want to ship foie gras from other states. And they basically said that this is interfering interstate commerce. And the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeal has now ruled, saying that the foie gras ban does not apply to products developed and sold from out of state. That California can ban foie gras as a production practice in California. They cannot ban people from eating foie gras as long as the foie gras is procured from out of state. Again, if you like foie gras, have at it. I don't. Number 18, California politicians, the liberals, banned travel to mainly Republican states. In fact, more than 24 Republican states had a travel ban slapped on them. And the travel ban only applied to government-funded travel. So state of California, local government, school districts could not travel to Republican states that, quote unquote, had anti-LGBT legislation. Now, I can tell you right now, none of the states that are banned or are on the travel ban, none of those states have anti-LGBT legislation. You could get yourself put on this ban if you don't have a law that requires that children under the age of 18 are allowed to do sexual gender transition without the permission of a parent. Somehow that makes you anti-LGBT. It doesn't. It actually makes you pro-child and pro-parent. But that's how California would put this smear on other states that it says was not pro-LGBT enough. Well, the ban didn't work because, well, most people aren't even paying attention to the ban. And the only person that's hurt by the ban are government workers trying to get to conferences where they can learn to improve their performance on behalf of taxpayers, and sports teams. That's right, youth sports teams, high school, college, even speech and debate clubs could not travel to other states to compete in various championships because they couldn't use school resources to travel to red states. They had to privately fund their travel. So even recently, some LGBT Democrat politicians have come out proposing to end the travel ban on these red states because it's hurting the wrong people. Nice to know that you're admitting that. All these things have been banned in California, but there are some things that are legalized, such as shooting up on drugs. That's right. California is repeatedly trying to legalize drug injection sites and provide free taxpayer-funded needles. Even during COVID-19, we saw the use of taxpayer money going to provide drugs and alcohol to homeless people because they didn't want people leaving the homeless shelters during COVID to go out and buy drugs and alcohol. It would perhaps hurt their health. And in California, we were one of the first states to legalize marijuana, which has had a devastating effect on a variety of societal outcomes. But we're also seeing a proposal by California politicians who are in favor of all these other bans to legalize prostitution and legalize psychedelic mushrooms. So California is making some things legal that are actually not good for you, actually hurt your health, bad for society, while banning a variety of things that are quite convenient and enjoyable in the name of do-goodery. If you think that this is an absolute offensive movement to try to limit our freedoms in California, join the fight. Through litigation and through elections, we want to make California a free state once again. Go to the website, reformcalifornia.org, and join the fight. Contribute, become a volunteer, share the stories and the videos so that we can get through the censorship of the liberal media. And also, in this list of bans I just covered, sound off in the comments below. Have we missed any bans that you are having to comply with in California? Does your state ban something that California doesn't? Very interested in that. And of course, are there some of these bans that you're not complying with? We'll keep your secret. We'll keep it anonymous. Till next time, this is Carl DeMaio with Reform California. Thanks for watching. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribe to my YouTube channel.